What's up, y'all? My name is Ian Edwards, and welcome to the Soccer Comic Rant. And the Soccer Comic Rant, you can find me on YouTube at Ian Edwards. Put that in, and the podcast will come up, and you can watch it. You can listen to it on SoundCloud. You can go to allthingscomedy.com, where I am not the only comic there with a podcast. Bill Burr has a podcast there. Ryan O'Neal has a podcast there. Steve Byrne, Jeff Dye, Brendan Walsh, who's fucking hilarious, Moshe Kasher, and a number of other funny-ass comics have podcasts there. If I go through the list, the show will be over. And I should probably do that because this is a solo episode, and I haven't done a solo episode in a while. So it's a little terrifying because I have nobody to interact with except myself, the computer, the notes on my phone, and I'm technically not alone because the technical director of the podcast, Aaron Brungard, is over there. What's up, Aaron?
What's up?
And I called you a technical director. I just made that up. Sounded right.
No, that's not bad. I mean, it's one part of what I'm doing with the video. That's technical directing.
So it's not even the whole. What would you say is your whole thing?
I guess just producer kind of does it all, but I'm doing the audio, the video.
Magician.
Yeah.
Magician, Aaron Brungard, producer, technical director, everything. Everything. So thank him for being here. And I may ask you some soccer questions, so I hope you're reading up on the computer behind there. He laughs because you've learned some shit over the last.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. You can have a good, decent conversation with people about soccer.
Yeah, like I know what the teams' names are when people say them. Oh, okay, Aston Villa. All right, I get it. I know what that is.
Yeah, there you go. So I'm saying you didn't know what Aston Villa was before all this.
Newcastle was a beer.
Yeah, there you go. Now you know. Yeah. They also play soccer as if they've drunken a bunch of beers. So yeah, and so I can introduce you who are watching to the person who's not over there, the person who's not over there, the person who's not over there, but I'm not even going to do that. I'm just going to introduce our sponsor, and our sponsor is onthevolleyapparel.com. And if you go to onthevolleyapparel.com, boom, you'll see tanks, t-shirts, and hoodies, and sweatshirts, and they have a hip-hop soccer emblem / logos on the front. And so it's a clash of soccer and hip-hop on the front of t-shirts, hoodies, and is that a cap? I think that's a cap. I've never seen that one before. So they got some new shit there. Yeah, they got a cap. All right, and they got, there you go, ducks and pucks. Is that what that says? Yeah, that's dope. So they got hats now. I didn't even know that. And they have new stuff there. So go to onthevolleyapparel.com, use my promo code Comic Rant, you get 20% off. And they got some new shit. Holidays is coming up, so you can also outfit your local soccer team there. They have bibs and different uniforms that you can use. And man, I gotta hit them up and get some shit. I have on one of their shirts now, and this is a striker shirt. So go to On The Volley Apparel. No, this is the keeper one. Yeah. Go to onthevolleyapparel.com. So one of the first things I'm going to discuss today, Aaron, is we had a break last week from the Premier League because it was international week. That means all the teams, national teams, play each other. And there was an incident in a game where England's international squad played Bulgaria, and they had to stop the game several times because a bunch of Bulgarians started yelling racist shit every time a black English player touched the football.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, man. So there's a protocol where, I forgot the exact thing of the protocol. Like, you talk to the captain, and the captain talks to the coach, and then they talk to the players, and then they play on. And then if it happens again, they stop and talk again. And then if it happens, I think, one more time, then you have the option to leave the field. And it did happen again. And but it was 3 minutes from halftime, so the players decided to play the game. And anyway, England, they expelled some people from the stadium, some Bulgarians, and they thrashed. England continued to thrash Bulgaria. Thrashed them.
Do you think that was part of why they were so unruly, is they were getting beat so bad?
I think they were trying to get in the heads of the English players by saying and doing and making racist noises. They think that helps their team.
Yeah.
And Bulgaria hasn't been a soccer power in a long time. And I felt like they would, it's like when you go to games, teams chant to like invigorate their team and give them energy and push them on. And then this was the way they chose to do it, which is the complete wrong way.
Yeah. I never understand that. I go to a lot of Dodger games and just, because my team will play against them, once a year. Or just any game I go to where it's just like the fans are so negative towards the other team. It's just like, man, it's just people in different clothes. Like it's not, they're human beings. They're 20-year-old guys. Like,
exactly. Like you can make a race out of that's what the Crips and Bloods do. And that's not the only gang. You'll make another race out of what somebody is wearing. So it's like a form of racism is inherent in all of us. And, so
I was walking through the parking lot and this guy walks past me and I'm in my Cardinals gear and he goes, "Cardinals suck." And then his like 5-year-old son repeats it, like says the same thing. It's just like,
great dad.
Yeah. And it's like, this is the playoff game. Neither of us suck. This is like, we're both the last 4 teams alive. Like,
right.
Yeah.
Did the Cardinals win?
That might have been the one they lost in 2009.
Oh, okay. This is
But
back then.
Since then we've spanked the Dodgers in the playoffs.
All right. So
and we outlasted them this year.
And you outlasted them this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was disappointing when the Dodgers got knocked out. So where is the playoffs now? Just
World Series starts in a half hour.
And it's Cardinals and who?
No, it's Astros and Nationals.
Oh shit, the Yankees didn't even make it.
Nope.
Dodgers didn't make it. Damn, everybody got knocked out. So nobody's gonna watch that.
I am.
Yeah. All right. I'll try to get you out of here.
That's all right. I still gotta be here. But unfortunately the Cardinals went down in a 4-game sweep.
Damn.
Barely hit anything. It was pretty bad, but
yeah, it's not great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anybody but the Yankees feels pretty good.
I differ with that comment.
Oh, well, that's fine.
Yeah. Because I grew up in New York.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you could be a Mets fan.
Yeah. I'm kind of a fan of all New York teams, and goes against what everybody wants, but I just do what I want. You know what I mean?
Of course.
I'm from New York. I'm forced to watch games. Like I'm forced to watch Jet games and Giant games. So after years of that, you only get 2 NFL games and then one on the Sunday night. You love football, so you watch it. And so a part of you does root for the Jets, whether you want it to or not. You know what I mean? And the same thing happens with basketball. And, we have more than one team in each sport. So you start feeling a little bit, I do at least, for each team,
Yeah. Well, I'm not from St. Louis, but, I picked my team at 16, 18 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's a good sports age as opposed to having a parent or being peer pressured from everybody to make you do it.
Yeah,
like it's a good responsible sports age to pick your team.
Yeah. I mean, it just happened to coincide with the whole McGuire home run chase thing that was huge in 1998, and
that helped.
Yeah.
That was a great time.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll just go back to racism for a second.
Sure.
Yeah, because I know this is talking about baseball. It's actually, so the leagues around the world. So what they did was the players finished playing the game. A lot of people are saying they should have walked. They could have walked off the field. Some are saying there's a lot of different solutions, or people come up with different things. But I don't have a solution either. But what this confirmed for me was you have to come up with a solution to fix this. You can't anymore just have the players at the beginning of games just hold up signs saying respect, stop racism. It's like those Nancy Reagan, like don't
say no to drugs.
Say no to drugs. Like how well did that work, Aaron?
Not well.
Not well at all. So this is ineffective. I think sometimes first of all, FIFA or the football organizations don't want to stop the games because it means money. So that's why the walking off the field and then coming back later on, and they always fix it in a way so that they can finish the game and make money. But you have to figure out a way like to make football help fix the world. And when I say that, I don't want to ignore like let's put it this way. There are incidents of terrorism that never happen because the powers that be jump on it, and you never get the praise for the shit that never happens, right? Mm-hmm. So there are incidents of racism that never happened because football made people get together and like each other more than they would have. So football has definitely done a lot for racism in the world, just period. Because if you're a soccer player from some Eastern European country, just wherever, from somewhere in the world, you would probably never meet a black player or an Asian player or a Latin player unless you were on the same team and you have to work together for a common goal, and then you get to know each other. And then same thing with fans. Like some fans would probably never root for someone of another color until that person is a part of the team that they cheer for, and that person like gives them insight into what somebody from another race is like. And then you can start to like other races more. Same thing with hip hop or just anything that translates from one race to another. So let's give football the credit it's due for all the race mixing that it's done in the world, period. But the way or this contingency plan that they have in place now is not working. Also, it's not all up to football. It's up to the world to see this incident in football and say, hey, what are we going to do about racism? And also, there's people in power that want to do nothing about racism. So that's the problem. So there is a problem, and we have to figure out a way how to definitely work towards fixing it, and it's going to take time. And so I think the English players did well. I personally would have preferred if it wasn't a thing where the players had to walk out the game, but you just take points from Bulgaria or any country that has racist chants come out of their stands. You just take points. You just make it so if you're a racist asshole, you're going to hurt your country. Football is very important to people. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. If you're going to be racist, we're going to take points because these are qualification games to get into to play in the Euros next year. And you want your team to play in the Euros so you have a chance to win a big title. But if you lose points from doing some racist shit in a game, then you cause your country to miss out on something huge. Then I think you have to put the weight of this on the racists, and then that will have more of an effect than what they're doing right now. So that's all I have on it right now.
Yeah. I was thinking like practically like, well, even if you could, like a comedy club, bounce all the hecklers and keep everyone else who's cool in, like,
boom.
It's not fixing the racism though,
right.
Like ultimately.
But you figure you're not fixing it, but
at least it's a safer environment for sure.
It's safer, but I feel like everybody who chants and does stuff like that, they're hurting and they're going through something, and they think, all right, this is our chance to hurt other people, but you have to like punish them to let them know if you hurt other people, you're going to hurt yourself more than other people. So find another way. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I was like, I don't want to. And football is a way that these people get joy. And if you take that away, then it'll at least make them think, all right, it's like I can't do this or else the thing I love is going to go. Mm-hmm. So let me not do that.
Yeah.
Or let me start liking, or let me just stop doing this dumb shit because it's not getting me anywhere.
Yeah.
You know? So, I mean, that's the only reason why.
Yeah, you think like you get kicked out of a football match, you're like, I'm out the money I spent on tickets.
Yes.
I'm out whatever I spent on alcohol already.
Mm-hmm.
Then I got to go home and tell my wife I got kicked out of a stadium.
Right. Are you're a Cardinals fan, right?
Yeah.
You ever had season tickets?
No, I've never even been to St. Louis.
Never been to St. Louis? Oh,
No.
shit.
Yeah.
Where'd you grow up? Here?
San Diego.
San Diego. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
So, are you a fan of any other team in any other sport? Or Marvel, or just anything?
Sure. I'm a fan of other stuff for sure.
Right.
But not many other sports teams really, no.
Not many other sports teams. I'm just trying to think, what would make you, if something you loved, say your girlfriend, I don't know what your relationship status is now.
My wife, yeah.
Your wife, right? And suppose she was like, hey, say you smoked or something. And she was like, I don't know if this is a great example. Hey, if you don't stop smoking, then I don't know if I can stay with you because something's going to happen to you and I'm going to have to watch this happen to you.
Yeah.
Would that make you think about stop smoking?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Right. So that's my point with, yeah. You know what I mean?
The people at the stadium have a power to curb this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
As a culture.
Yeah. But it's a world. Racism is a world thing, you know.
Yeah.
You know, racism a world thing. So we'll see what the football associations around the world do to, you know, like they need to come up with a definite plan. What they have right now, it's cute, you know. It's definitely cute, and it's asking players who know what time it is. They knew going in, like they knew going in what the situation was. They had meetings before the game, knowing that. So you're a player, and you know when you go to this stadium that you might hear some monkey chants or whatever, you know, some N-word shit, whatever they were saying, you know, but you have to focus on this game plan, and they went through with it anyway. So, you know, it's like, why do you have to put up with that when you have to adjust your mind and to these people, but they're not going to adjust their mind to you? I feel like the people who are causing the problem should have to suffer.
Yeah, absolutely.
As opposed to, I guess that's what I'm trying to say. So I think we didn't solve racism, but that's all we got.
I mean, we're close.
We're close.
We're almost there.
I could feel it. Me and you are getting along. Yeah. What's your nationality, Aaron?
Half Polish, half German.
Half Polish, half German. All right. Cheers. Oktoberfest.
I don't drink.
Congrats. I don't drink
a waste.
It's hilarious. So I want to go into the Premier League, and the biggest match of the week was Man United versus Liverpool, and we played at Old Trafford, and Man United has sucked lately. You know, our record is not good, and we are playing the European champs who have maximized all their points at the table. They haven't lost a game since the season started. They were on their way to tying, I think, Man City's record for like most wins in a row. So they were going to come to Old Trafford and try to you know, they could potentially have embarrassed us there. And we had 9 points before the game. They had 24, I think, because now they have 25. And we definitely, Ollie changed the formation up. We played a 3-5, was it a 2? Which is essentially, it's a 4, it's a 4, 3, 5, 2, 1. 4, 3, 5, 2, 1. 4, 3, 5, 2, 1. 4, 3, 5, 2, 1. 4, 3, 5, 2, 1. 4, 3, 5, 2, 1. 4, 3, 5, 2, 1. 4, 3, 5, 2, 1. 4, 3, 5, 2, 1. 4, 3, 5, 2, 1. 4, 3, 5, 2, 1. 4, 3, 5, 2, 1. 4, 3, 5, 2, 1. 4, 3, 5, 2, 1. 4, 3, 5, 2, 1. 4, 3, 5, 2, 1. 4, 3, 5, 2, 1. 4, 3, 5, 2, 1. 4, 3, 5, 2, 1. 4, 3, 5, 2, 1. 4, 3, 5, 2, 1. 4, 3, 5, 2, 1. 4, 3, 5, 2, 1. 4, 3, 5, 2, 1. 4, 3, 5, 2, 1. 4, it fluctuates. The backs who they're saying aren't backs, and they're playing in the midfield are really backs. They are going into the midfield, so he played very defensive. You know what I mean? And he still had Young in the game because Shaw is still injured, and but without going into all the formation shit, like as a team with heart and determination, we went out there and we did not embarrass ourselves against the European champions. And some people are saying, hey man, we dropped points because we were ahead in the game up until the last few minutes, and Liverpool pulled one back with Lallana. But listen, we gained a point because we lost to Newcastle our last game. We've dropped points to so many teams that are not as good or close to the standard of Liverpool, and we were up one against them down to the end of the game. And yes, they scored a goal and we dropped points, but for me, this is a win because I thought we were going to get torn apart. And I just like the effort that the team put out in the game. And you could see that Pereira can play, McTominay can play, and they put bodies on the Liverpool players and they made them uncomfortable. And these are European champions, and they really got after them and threw Liverpool off their game, and which is not an easy thing to do. Now, I got to admit that Liverpool hasn't been playing the best in their last 3 to 4 games, but they have won those games somehow because that's what you do if you want to be a champion. But yeah, Man U went out there. The fans gave it their all. They revved up the guys, and we had a plan. We stuck to it. We still, didn't have the cohesion that you would normally want your team to have. We only had the ball 32% possession, but it was different in the first half. In the first half, we had a decent amount of possession, and Rashford's goal was pretty amazing. The cross from Daniel James was met precisely and emphatically and put in the net in a beautiful way. And, the keeper had a chance to score it. Rashford kept his cool, did what he had to do, and beat a really good keeper. And we scored. So I got to give credit for that. We had 7 shots on goal. They had 10. We had 7 shots. They had 10. We had 2 on target. They had 4. Possession, you don't want to know about the possession if you're a Man United fan. They had 68%. And Jesus Christ, we had 299 passes, and they had 652. But it did not look like that. We looked like we discombobulated them a lot. I guess what I do like about this.
What was the final score?
Final score was 1-1.
Oh, okay.
Right. And you've heard us talk about Manchester United, and you've heard me being down on them, and you've heard me talk about how good Liverpool.
Draw against one of the top 2?
Right.
That's great.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
If you're not playing your best and you still play tough against a tough team.
Right.
What the hell?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Some people are like, oh, we drop points because if you win the game, you get a whole 3 points. Mm-hmm. And I'm saying, listen, man, we won a point. You
get 1 for a draw, right?
Yeah, you get 1 for a draw.
Yeah, 3 for a win. Okay.
Yeah, 3 for a win. So everybody, we needed a point. We just lost to Newcastle, and if we lost,
is a beer.
Yeah, which is a bear. We lost to a bear. You know what I mean? Or players full of beer, and we needed something. Like we just lost to Newcastle, which is below us in the table at the time, right? And they still might be, but I'm not sure. I got to check. And then our next match is against the team at the top of the table, and we got a point.
Yeah,
you got to see that as a positive. Yeah. So I'll take it. I just want to see the energy that we put into this game when we play. Let me see who we're playing. I think it's Norwich, but I just want to make sure. I have to scroll all the way down to the bottom of the table to see. Yeah, we're playing Norwich this weekend. So I just want to see that effort. I like that we didn't look scared. And even Fred. And have you ever heard me talk about Fred before?
I think so.
Yeah, he's a Manchester United player that we bought under our previous coach. He cost like 50 or 60 million.
God, the money is so crazy.
The money's crazy, bro. And he sucks.
That's a baseball fan saying that.
Yeah. I know baseball money is huge, right?
Yeah, well, for some. I mean, it's like $400 million for Mike Trout, but 12 years.
But here's the crazy thing. Mike Trout gets that money.
Yeah.
You know who gets this 50, 60 million? The team we bought him from. Then you have to negotiate a salary separately for the player. Yeah.
Oh, so it's like it used to be with when we got Japanese players.
Oh, okay.
So you pay them like $40 million and then you negotiate the contract.
Yes. Yeah. Would you negotiate you pay the baseball team the 40 mil?
Yeah, or the league, the Japanese baseball league, the Nippon baseball league. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So yeah, that's how soccer works.
Wow.
Yeah. So Fred, like, he didn't play amazing, but just playing better than he normally plays is a plus. And he wasn't, like, normally he looks slow. He's like panicking, like he's in fear of doing something wrong, so he just does something wrong. He didn't have that. I don't know what they told him, but they need to tell him that shit next week if they put him in the game. And then we still had a bunch of injuries. Some of our best players, like Pogba, didn't play, and Martial, who's been injured for a minute, came in at the end of the game, and he played at the end of the game. So he's just coming back from an injury. So, like, we haven't had a lot of our team, but some of the players who are backup players have been starting a lot, and they've showed the potential to be starters. But here's the thing about Manchester United. Like, we did good in this game. There's a transfer window coming up in January. Like, in January, Manchester United is in 14th place right now, which is not good for Manchester United. At this point of any season, I think this is one of our worst starts in the history.
Out of 20 teams?
Out of 20 teams. Yeah. We're in 14th. And a quarter of the season is gone. This is like the 9th game. So earlier on when we were losing, we're like, still early. Mm-hmm. Now, 9 games in, and it's a 38-game season. If you keep saying this, by the end of the season, you might be in the league below. Yeah.
That'd be crazy for Man U, right?
That'd be fucking bananas.
Yeah.
But it's also
like the Yankees going to the minors.
Yes, exactly.
Wow.
But it's also what I've been saying, like, with our personnel, I wouldn't be surprised, But the saving grace is we have a transfer window coming up, and it's going to cost us a lot of money to get good players. But we have to buy either 2 attacking midfielders or 1 creative midfielder and a forward, like a solid bona fide forward. And then we add that to the roster. And then
so the transfer window is kind of like a trade deadline, or
yes, but
it's like a section of time where you can make these deals.
Yes, and it's closed right now.
Yeah.
But it opens, I think, in January.
So in that time, that's when you make these $50 million deals or whatever.
Yeah.
Or in the off season, obviously. But.
Yeah. So there's the off season transfer window that closes, like, maybe right before the season starts, and then they open it back again. Like, if you didn't get enough Christmas gifts, and you feel like your team by March is gonna go down, or you feel like your team needs something to win the league, you can go shopping.
Yeah, or if you want to cut costs, you can just sell.
If you want to make some money, you can sell. There you go. Yeah.
So back to Fred. So you paid his former team $50 million.
Around that.
He was under contract with them.
Yes.
At the time, obviously.
And
right?
he was in some league in Eastern Europe.
Oh, okay. So he wasn't in the Premier League.
No, he wasn't in the Premier League, no.
Okay, so then that makes sense to give them that money.
Right.
Because I was going to say, if it was from another team in the league, like, they're saving money by not having to pay him. So why would you pay them more? Like,
right. Because when we bought him that summer, Jose Mourinho was our boss. We bought him because we need Jose Mourinho now that he's fired and he's in the commentator booth. He's saying we hadn't made any transfer moves that off season, and the deadline was coming. So they was like, oh, let's buy Fred. They panicked and they wasted some money on Fred because he's trying to say he didn't want that guy. But Fred is also a part of the reason why he got fired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That has some definite correlation of how the Cardinals operate. Like, they're very much not the guys who panic about we need to get somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the fans they were super pissed there were no moves in our transfer window, which is just a deadline at the end of July.
Right.
We didn't make any moves, and we were fine. We made it to the playoffs. We won the division. We almost got to the World Series. But yeah, there is definitely pressure from the fan base or the ownership. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's the thing with, like, I guess the fans of soccer and the fans of baseball are the same. Like, they're panicking a lot, and they want you to do things. But if you do some of the things you want them to do and they don't pan out, they forget that you pressured them to do it. And then they just blame you. They just blame you until you win. And it's like fans have to, like our Manchester United fans, like we wanted to change the way that we were conducting business. We wanted to get rid of the people on the roster we thought we knew or thought didn't want to be there. We wanted to get rid of those people, and we wanted to start with a young, fresh group and start building for the future. Now, when you build for the future, you're going to lose a lot, but they don't want to lose.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And then they want to expect to beat Liverpool, but Liverpool is peaking. We are rebuilding. So 1 point against a peaking team when you're rebuilding is great. You just can't lose sight of that. That's what it is. And we get this transfer window, and I know there's a reason to panic when this transfer window is coming up, because Manchester United has made bad moves in transfer windows, or they've made moves and then regretted those moves probably too soon before you let some of those players settle in, because some of those players, we got rid of them and they went to other teams and they've done great. Some of them have ended up on the national teams. Not only have they started for the clubs that we got rid of them to, they started for their national team. So they've more than proven that we had some of the right players in our camp, but we just panicked. So we just can't panic anymore. You have to sit in this pocket. You have to take these L's, and you have to support and grow. Also with the coach, who I'm schizophrenic with Solskjaer. Like some weeks I'm like, you did good, like this week, and some weeks I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? But ultimately, we are going in the right direction, just very slowly and painfully. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if I may do another correlation to baseball, like the Houston Astros were the worst team. They lost 100 games out of 162.
Shit. Jesus Christ.
3 years in a row from 2014, 15, 16.
300
like
games.
Yeah.
Jesus. In 3 years.
Yeah. And then the next year they won the World Series. And now they're back 2 years later.
Damn. And they were rebuilding.
Yeah.
And they stuck to their plan.
Yep.
And everybody saw it and knew it. Boom.
I don't know if they all knew it, but people there was a guy who famously wrote an article that said they posted, I think it was on either the ESPN magazine or Sports Illustrated, I forget which one, but they said Houston Astros 2017 World Series champions, and this was 2014, and they were right.
He wrote that before?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So I mean, people could see the plan, but yeah, it still had to happen, obviously.
Right. Yeah, and that's the thing. A lot of we're Manchester United fans. We're fucking spoiled. We're used to winning. Our last manager won us 13 titles. We won 2 Champions Leagues. We won other shit, FA Cups, and we're just spoiled. And hey, man, like this, just enjoy the world. This is the way it is. You know.
Can you explain just for me, because
Mhm.
I'm getting a little confused that there are these other titles out there like the FA Cup and there's obviously the English Premier League.
Right.
That's just the team with the most points at the end of the season.
End of the season. There's no playoff.
No playoff. No.
Just like in the NBA or in the Major League Baseball, there's no playoff.
Yeah. Okay.
Whoever wins gets the most points wins the league.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
and then for everyone else, there's other options.
Yes. So like there's the FA Cup,
Mm-hmm.
but that's so England has a bunch of leagues. There's a Premiership, Championship, First Division, Second Division, and it goes all the way down, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the FA Cup is a competition that all those clubs from all those different divisions play in.
Yeah.
And it's a knockout competition.
Mm-hmm.
And you throw all the names kind of in a hat. And then so some team that's a non-league team or from like the lowest paid division in English soccer could end up playing based on just your name being pulled out of a hat
Mm-hmm.
or whatever they use. You could end up playing Liverpool or and then that's a big game for those teams.
Yeah.
And then you do the competition until the last two are left.
But
And
generally, do the EPL teams squash the other?
yes, but there are times when
Yeah, of
teams
course.
from lower divisions, somehow you get a good run, you
Mhm.
get the perfect matchup, and you end up in the final. So it's just huge for those teams. And then also, if, like, say you play Chelsea and, like, I forgot say you play Chelsea, you're a lower division team, and Chelsea has to come to you to play, and you get all that gate money. That's a big financial boost to your team.
Yeah,
you know what
win
I mean?
or lose. Yeah.
Yeah, win or lose. Yeah, and then sometimes if it's a tie, there's a rematch. That's more money.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So
I like the idea of that.
Yeah.
So that's the Champions League title.
No,
that's the FA Cup.
That's the FA Cup.
So what's the Champions League?
So the Champions League is the top 4 teams from, and I won't say from every, definitely for the Premier League, the top 4 teams
Mhm.
that finish in the league every year.
Including the team that won the English Premier League title.
Right. So
Okay.
so that's the number 1 team.
Yeah.
So that team and 3 others qualify for the Champions League every year.
And they play against the top 4 of
From
the other
from all the other
the other
European
countries.
Yeah, so the top 4 from Turkey, the top teams from Spain, Germany,
Mhm.
blah blah blah. And first they have this group thing. They have like different groups.
Mhm.
They put like 4 teams in a group,
Yeah.
and then after the group stage, there's the is that the group stage first? Then there's the home and away thing, and then
Mhm.
you whittle it down again until there's 2 teams left, and whoever wins that wins the Champions League.
Is that more prestigious than winning just the Premier League, or?
It depends on the type of fan you are.
Oh, okay.
Like Liverpool right now, they're happy they won the Champions League,
Yeah, so they won. Man City won
the Premiership.
Premiership
Yeah,
last year.
by 1 point.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then Liverpool won the Champions.
Champions League. But Liverpool fans, real Liverpool fans, they want the Premier League.
Yeah.
They want, because they won a Champions League a few years ago,
Mm-hmm.
maybe 10 years ago. They want the Premier League. They just want the Premier League.
Yeah,
They haven't won it in 30 years.
Yeah, it's still in your home.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they
It's
just
like,
Mhm.
well, it's not, there's no real same thing in baseball or basketball, really.
hmm
Because there's never the same team that wins the World Series doesn't go to they don't play in the World Baseball Classic
Right.
representing America or whatever. It's, they divide up into countries and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, to me,
That's pretty cool. I like that.
you like
that
the
idea,
Champions
yeah.
League?
Yeah, because then it's your best from your league versus,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
they stay together.
Yeah. You should come check out a game with us one
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
To me, I do like the Premier League title, but to me, the Champions League is more prestigious because you beat the best clubs in Europe to this thing.
Yeah.
And that's more competitive, playing the top ones from each one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
But yeah. I'm just going to slide down this table and run through some of these results So let me go back to this page. And the first game I watched this weekend was Everton versus West Ham. Everton needed to win this game. Marco Silva's head was like literally on the chopping block. Like the guy with the sickle was just had the hood on, was sharpening the axe, and they was just ready to take it off after this game if they didn't win. Like I'm almost sure Marco Silva would not be the coach of Everton as we speak right now if Everton didn't show up to play West Ham, which they did, and they took it to him from the beginning of the game. And you're like, oh, so Everton can play, but where's this Everton team at? And the problem with this win, which was a great display by Everton, is like Marco Silva, if he's going to be a successful coach, he has to get his players to play. They can't just play when he's in trouble. You know what I mean? Like you're not a great coach if your team only plays for you when you're about to get your head chopped off. They got to be able to play for you when you're not in that cart on your way to the gallows. Like when times are good. So you can't just be a good desperate coach. A good coaches are coaches who can coach when their teams are doing good. You know what I'm saying? And Everton has spent a lot of money, and they got to get a return on their money. Some of the good players for Everton in this game, Theo Walcott showed up, had a good game. Gomez had a very impressive game. Like, I see why you have him. Can he do that every week? Hopefully. Who else had a good game? Bernard, on an assist from Walcott, had an amazing game. Bernard tries to do these tricks every week and loses the ball. This time, he pulled a dope trick off, scored an amazing goal. So can he repeat that next week? Like, which Everton is going to show up next week? Right? Which Everton is going to show up next week when they play Brighton Hove, who just lost and is going to try to get a win? So what's the deal with that? So let me see if I have any more notes on my phone about this game. Bernard did his thing. And West Ham, just a little speech on West Ham. They have been playing kind of crappy throughout the last few weeks, and they still got points from their crappy play. Like they've had a win, draw. Well, they got 2 losses, so including this one. And they deserve those losses. Like, they lost to Crystal Palace, and they lost to. I think I'm thinking of when they drew with Villa, and they should have lost because Villa outplayed them. But yeah, so West Ham's form's in question too. But they definitely deserved to lose this game, and Everton jumped inside of them and busted out and outplayed them and got the win. Who else I want to talk about next? I don't think I could talk about everybody. Southampton Wolves, that's my homeboy Lee's team. Tie. I think there's an issue with a offsides. Wolves scored, I think, a goal for sure that got taken away. They might have scored 2. The VAR showed up a lot this week. Like VAR came into play a lot this weekend, and people are saying like the people who run VAR are not helping VAR. Like a good VAR game was if you go back to the Manchester United game against Liverpool. Like, that's a good VAR game because the goal, I forgot to discuss the goal that we scored. The goal that we scored, like, that was Origi. Origi lost the ball and he was going to lose the ball anyway. He tried a trick, and McTominay, I think, was the one that got that ball and passed it to Daniel James. I think that's how the sequence went. But Origi was going to lose that ball anyway. So he felt a tap and went down. And the referee said, hey, man, that wasn't a foul. Klopp wanted the foul. He blames the terribleness of VAR. But I don't think that was a foul. And it's not because I'm a Man U player. Listen, everybody's going down too easy based on contact. And sometimes shit like this needs to happen so that players know, hey, if you go down and play hurt, this may hurt your team. So good luck. So a play like that needs to happen, and Marcus Rashford needs to score that goal so that players can think twice about diving on the ground. And because people dive on the ground, this is why we have VAR. But again, VAR is not being the best thing that it could be. Anyway, Southampton and Wolves, they tie 1-1. Decent game. Wolves ties, gets a point. Southampton, how many games is Southampton? Let's see Southampton up there. Should I do my glasses thing? Yeah, oh, there. Damn. So they lost 3 in a row, and they needed something to happen. So they got a point from that game. And so they're in 17th place. So, yeah. Southampton needed something. I like their coach. I don't know. I mean, 17th place. It's not that bad. They're not last. You know what I mean? They're not last. Maybe they need to buy some players, which is something that they're not known to do, really. I think they did get some players, but yeah. It's not great, but it ain't the worst thing for a Southampton squad to be 17th at this time of the year. So, fine. I don't think the coach's job is in danger. He should be all right. Who else do I want to talk about? Go down this list. Let's talk VAR for real. Tottenham versus West Ham. And I'm going to try to watch this clip on this computer to see if this was a handball. And it's the Dele Alli goal. The Dele Alli goal against Watford at the end of the game, was that a handball? I just saw it again. Maybe. Let's see. Let me look at it again. I can't show it on the screen because I might not have been a handball, and I am not a Spurs fan. And then I see it again, and it might have been a handball. Yeah, it touched his bicep, and the goalkeeper fucked up. Like, you can't. So if your goalkeeper fucks up, and we all know VAR is unreliable, then, hey man, you have to handle your business, Watford. And this is the type of season that Watford is having. Like, they've lost games outright, and there's games that they could have got all 3 points, and situations like this happen. Like, they could have had all 3 points against Arsenal. Arsenal comes back from 2-0 down and ties the game, and they only get 1 point. And here's another example where they could beat a team in the top 6. They're leading them 1-0. Goalkeeper makes a horrendous mistake, and then there's this questionable play where, listen, this is VAR. Like, maybe the shot of a close-up of this is out there, but I haven't seen it. Like, normally somebody will post online, like they'll zoom in, to completely determine if this was a handball or not, or arm ball or not, or a bicep ball or not. I believe it was a bicep ball. Dele Alli definitely. I don't think. Let me look at it one more time. Yeah, that's a bicep. Yeah, that's a bicep.
I know you guys have talked about this before, but do they have to think there was intent, or is it just if it touches your hands at all, it's a handball now?
Well, they don't. care because I think I'm a little confused. I think it was in the Wolves game, but I'm not sure. There was another incident where there was no intent. Okay. It was in the Manchester United game, the same game, right? So one of their players, Sadio Mane, is one-on-one against our player. And the ball, somebody lobs the ball over to him. So he's one-on-one against our guy. And if he beats our guy, only person he has to beat is the goalkeeper, which he does. But our guy, the defender he beat, Lindelof, was like, hey, man, that was a handball. When you zoom in and look at it, the ball definitely hit Sadio Mane's hand, and which also in return made the ball hit Lindelof's hand, which gave Sadio Mane the upper hand to control the ball and put the ball in the net past our keeper, making the game at that time 1-1, right? But there's a rule, right, that says, and I'm going to summarize the rule in my own terms. If there's a goal scoring opportunity and the ball touches the offensive player's hand and helps them to score, whether it was accidental or on purpose, that is not a goal.
Yeah. Like it would have gone wild otherwise.
Right. So, and there was a game. So the coach of Liverpool is upset because they're at the head of the table and they're being hunted down by Man City, right? And they played us and a goal was taken away from them because the ball accidentally hit their player's hand, right? And they tie 1-1 and they only get 1 point. But I'm sure in the first week of the season, when Man City, the team that has hunted them, was playing Spurs, and Man City scored a goal at the end of the game to win that game, and the VAR looked at it, and the ball accidentally hit one of the offensive players of Man City on that goal, and then the ball went to the other Man City player, and he put it in the net. They wiped out that goal. I'm sure Klopp was not complaining about that
so it's
rule.
Benefited them as well.
So it's benefited them as well. Yes. So, hey, man, it's the same rule applied consistently between these two games. It hasn't been applied consistently throughout the season, but definitely between these two games. So, Klopp, you can't have it both ways. Just one way, bro. So that Spurs thing was a handball, but Watford, who played a good game, they scored first and they scored early, and but they couldn't hold off Tottenham. But that's still a good point for them, and they were at Tottenham. And the problem is now, what's going on with Tottenham? Tottenham should beat Watford. Watford's having a terrible season. Remember when I told you that Liverpool was the champions of Europe?
Mm-hmm.
The team they beat to be the champions of Europe was Spurs. So Spurs is technically
right up there.
The second best team in Europe, right? Mm-hmm. And they can't beat Watford. And if you look down at the table where Watford's at,
Watford is
last. And
Tottenham's at
7th, and you finished second in the Champions League. So, but something's going on at Spurs. Even the coach is like, the coach who took this team to the Champions League final said, yeah, I'm in danger of being fired. And I somehow kind of think he does want to get fired. And if he does get fired, I think Manchester United, who has sworn loyalty to their coach, who is struggling right now, will fire their coach and hire this guy.
So they will fire the guy who got them to tie one of the best teams.
Yes.
For a guy who couldn't get his team to beat the worst team. Cool.
Yes, because overall, maybe not even overall. Like I was going to tell you, overall, he's a better coach. But Spurs has lost more games or dropped more points. There's a stat where Spurs has had between last year and in 2019, right? From if you include last season and this season, their coach has had a worse run than our coach.
Oh, wow.
Right.
And that's Martin and XG's team?
Martin and XG's team, yes. And so, but overall, over his career, he's been a really good coach.
Mm-hmm.
So, man, you might be like, he's just hit the wall with this team and he needs a new refreshing.
Sure.
And this coach, Pochettino, is great with young players.
Yeah, that's what they've got.
And we got young players. And he's a good eye for talent. So he can pick out like a player that might not cost a lot of money that could add a ton of value. And that's what we need right now. So we'll see.
I hate to bring this back to the Cardinals again.
And no, you don't.
No, I don't. It keeps me awake.
Yeah. I feel you. I'm just glad you're here.
But, I mean, we fired our coach halfway through last season.
Mm-hmm.
He had never had a losing season. He'd never had, at the time, did not have a losing season. He was around the middle, around 500.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he wasn't great with young players, I don't think, because he was a former player.
Right.
And sometimes those guys are just like
old school,
just too mean and don't really get it.
Right.
Where the game's going. So we brought up his coach.
His assistant.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Who's good with everybody, is managed in the minors, and
uh-huh.
and now we are where we are.
And then I'm trying to think.
But yeah, sometimes you got to fire a guy even though they're doing
well.
Okay.
And I've seen that before.
Yeah.
And where the team actually won the whole thing. But I'm trying to remember what sport it was, because I used to follow all the sports. So I'm trying to remember if it was in American football, if it was in soccer or basketball, where like the Showtime Lakers, they had a coach who won.
Pat Riley. Yeah.
But before Pat Riley, they had a coach that won. And I think they fired, or he'd gotten them to the playoffs. And I think they fired him to take on Pat Riley, which turned them into the level. It got them to the next level. And then the crazy thing is, the coach before, I can't remember the complete story, but he might have won a title with them. But I'm not sure. But Pat Riley, he wasn't a losing coach, but Pat Riley definitely took him to the next level. But I think there's teams, and it's always like, wow. Like even Man City, they hired Pep, but the coach that they fired to hire Pep had won them the league before.
Yeah, it's tough.
But you just know Pep is a better coach. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. Like, Solskjaer might ultimately end up being a good coach. He's younger in coaching years than the players he's coaching. Like, if you like in dog coaching years, that motherfucker is young. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, he's younger than his experience as a coach is younger than the players as professionals, or just about the same. So he's learning too. So why not get a coach who can help, who's coached at this level a long time, that could get those players on track faster. And it's not that you hate Solskjaer. It just might not be the right time for him. Yeah.
It always sucks though when a coach puts in all that work. I saw it in football with Tony Dungy in Tampa Bay. He puts in all this work.
Oh, shit, yeah.
He gets fired, and then the next year, with the same team, John Gruden wins the Super Bowl.
Right.
It's like, oh.
So that was John Gruden, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Who's supposed to be this genius and hasn't won anything since, but whatever.
Right. That's hilarious. And he's back coaching the Raiders.
Yeah.
And he's the one that lost to the Patriots in the Tuck Rule game. That was Gruden, or that was
no. I think that was the guy who was the Raiders coach the year that they lost to Gruden. He was the same coach.
Oh, okay, all right, yeah. there's a lot of intersections and parallels between all sports, because I used to follow all of the sports, like just all the same. And it would be one week something would happen in soccer that would the exact same parallel thing would happen in American football or something. Like a player would color his hair, and then the next week in England, another player colors his hair. I saw the year when Deion Sanders scored a touchdown, and I don't know if it was Deion, but a Dallas player or an ex-Dallas player scored a touchdown and celebrated on the center of the Dallas Star.
Oh yeah, it was Terrell Owens.
Terrell Owens
on the Niners.
On the Niners.
Celebrated. No, Terrell was on Dallas and Deion celebrated. No, what the?
Yeah, what the?
That?
Yeah, I see.
There's something like I know Terrell Owens was involved with it, and
so Terrell probably celebrated on the Dallas Star.
Yeah, maybe when he was either on the Niners or Philadelphia. Yeah.
Right.
Philadelphia would make sense. They're in the same division.
Right. But I watched the South American football game that week where a South American player from one team scored twice and celebrated on this sacred spot for the other team, the home team. And there was like almost fights every time he did it. And I was like, oh shit, the same shit just happened. So it's just some crazy parallels sometimes.
Yeah.
You
got to be careful how you celebrate someone's home field.
Yeah, sometimes you can't really celebrate when you're celebrating. You got to chill.
Yeah, the Dodgers did that a couple years ago. They won in Arizona, and Arizona has a pool out in right center. And the Dodgers went out and celebrated in the pool, and the Diamondbacks were super pissed. It's like, I know you're here, but we put out the champagne for you, but don't be dicks.
Did they win the World Series?
No, it was the division.
Hey man, celebrations to celebrate. Hey, just when you might lose, get rid of the pool.
Yeah, drain
that motherfucker.
Well, it's for the fan. It's like for VIPs actually. It's like, parties.
Well, if you win, you're a VIP apparently.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. Yeah, there's touchy ways to celebrate. Norwich versus Bournemouth 0-0. Chelsea versus Newcastle, and Chelsea is out there. Frank Lampard, I think now they have won. Chelsea, which started off very rocky, and Frank Lampard's job was in question, has won 3 games in a row, and they have not lost in 5. And they are 4th at the table. They have 17 points. And the young guys are out there doing their thing. Christian Pulisic, the American player, got in the game, contributed. They got Tammy Abrams. They got Hudson-Odoi. They have Willian playing fucking amazingly because he's feeling the pressure. But he's like such a calming presence out there on the ball. Like there's just times when he just dribbled out of trouble. And there's nobody could catch him or touch him. And it's like, who can do that? Like, there's definitely nobody on Manchester United can do that. And it's just like this new, like, Willian, when I first discovered Willian or saw him, I was like, this guy's amazing. Then he would dip, come up and disappear and sometimes reappear as this amazing player again. But this run that he's having now is probably the best form that I've seen him in. And he didn't start for Chelsea at the beginning of the season. He was on the bench, but I think their form picked up once they decided we're going to use some Willian. And he's literally, Aaron, if you watch this guy run with the ball, it's like the video game. Like your eyes just automatically make the circle around the bottom of his feet that you see on the FIFA soccer game. And he just runs up the field with the ball. And there's nothing you could do about it. And he'll pass it to a teammate and he'll defend. And Chelsea just has a lot of good players, man. They got Jorginho, they got Kovacic, they got Mount, who's a young player who's going to learn from all these fucking good players. Like Jorginho is playing great defensively and making great passes, and Tammy Abrahams is just growing every game. He hit the post a few times, headed the ball. He's taller than I thought he was. He's strong, and listen. It was just Newcastle. But I can't say that after Manchester United lost to Newcastle. You feel me? And this is a tricky league. You can lose to people you're supposed to beat.
Yeah.
So, fuck it.
Is you said the American player? Is he the only one in the Premier League?
Nah, I think there's Yedlin, who plays for Newcastle, and there might be a few others. But Yedlin, I know for sure, and Christian Pulisic. And Pulisic is good, but It's just Chelsea's so deep. And they started the season with a lot of injuries, and they wanted to push the youth.
What did they pay the MLS to get this guy?
Christian, well,
nothing. I'm assuming nothing.
No, he was in Germany.
Oh wow, okay.
Playing on a German team, a good German team, and they bought him, and he's the last player they were able to buy. They have a 1 or 2 year transfer ban. They did some illegal shit, so they bought him last year, but he arrived this year. Sometimes you can buy a player in advance and risk him getting injured at the team that he's with.
Yeah.
But I think he's going to be a good player. He has desire. He wants it. He's not afraid. And, it's probably going to have to wait till more players get older to stay in there, but he's got a lot of potential. Yeah, I think he'll be a good player. And he's learning from some great players. So, but, Chelsea, you handle your business. Sometimes you only win 1-0. And, Newcastle, they just beat us, and they have Sean Longstaff, Matty Longstaff, and Matty Longstaff definitely looked good again. I was watching his touches, but there's another level when it comes to Willian, and I saw Willian handling the Longstaff brothers. So even though Matty for sure had a decent game for his second Premier League start, the first game he scored a goal, the winning goal for the game, but that motherfucker Willian ran circles around him at times because Willian is just next level. And I think Matty Longstaff is going to be good. Yeah. Let me see. Let me go back to that page. Let me see if there's anything else I want to say about this. And St. Maxon from Newcastle, what a fucking player. Speaking of running circles around people, this guy, when he comes at you with the ball, be on your best careful, because this motherfucker will embarrass the shit out of you. He's got moves. And if I'm Man United, I'm looking to buy this guy from Newcastle at some point. And that's how Liverpool built themselves up. They would just pick the worst teams apart by getting their best player. And you'd be like, they just got that guy from that shitty team. But when you have all the best players from all the shitty teams, you become a great team. That's what Liverpool is. And that's what St. Maxim could do for your team. And it's a good template, because look at where they are now. I think I said something about the Villa game before. Let me just go back to it. Villa versus Brighton Hove. And this is my boy Lloyd's team. You hear me talk about Lloyd all the time. And Villa just got promoted, and they beat Brighton Hove 2-1. And Jack Grealish scored a goal. He also had an assist. And I think Gareth Southgate, the English coach, was there. And Jack Grealish could play. And we sometimes, as the England squad, has trouble with creativity. We did beat Bulgaria, I think 6-0, but that's a lot to do with Bulgaria being shitty. There's a reason why those people are racist, because their team sucks. You know what I'm saying? So when you need a dose of creativity, Jack Grealish just showed our English coach that he probably belongs on that team. And he's had an outstanding season. The results hasn't always gone Aston Villa's way. But listen, man, if there's players on Man United on the British squad and we're in 14th place, then there's players on Villa's team that can be on the English squad, because they're in 12th place. And they already have Mings, one player from the team. So if Mings can be on the team, Grealish could be on the team. So that's that's my push for Jack Grealish. And
there's a guy named Aaron who got a red card. That's pretty cool.
Is it Moy or Moody? What is his last?
Looks like Mooey to me.
Mooey, yeah. He got a red card early. He fouled Grealish to get this second yellow, which they took him out the game. And yeah. So let me just look and see. This is the end of this thing. I'm just gonna see what the big game is next week. The big game next week is Liverpool versus Tottenham. Liverpool drop points. They're playing at home. Tottenham is definitely has like a wobbly wheel under their car. I don't know if they're gonna straighten that shit out by this weekend coming up. I definitely am not a Tottenham fan because it's Martin's fault. So I am definitely rooting for Liverpool. And as a Man U fan, you're not supposed to, but we're not going to catch them anyway. We got a point from them. So I'm happy about that. So anything that sinks Tottenham more and gives the leadership at Tottenham a reason to want to fire their coach so that we can get him. There's some games have a 6-point swing. You get 3 points for a game. But if it's a game where so if two teams are fighting for position and you beat that team, then it's a 6-point swing. Mm-hmm. Because instead of 3 points, you took 3 points away from them and you got 3 points for yourself. So that's 6.
Yeah. This
is a different type of 6-pointer. That has nothing to do with us. It's like, hey, if Liverpool beats the shit out of Spurs chairman is really going to start questioning the viability or the ability of this coach to pull this shit back together. And results mean everything. No matter how much you've done for a team before, there's coaches in England who won the league and in the next year got fired. It's happened to 3 of the last Premiership winners. Conte, it happened to the coach of Leicester, and it happened to Mourinho. So it can happen to Pochettino, who has never won anything for Spurs. So this is a coaching swing. So come on, Liverpool, do you. And that's the biggest game. Man U plays Norwich. And Man City's got Villa. I'm going to still root for Villa on that one because of Lloyd, and I like the way Villa plays. They play too open, so Man City might be able to cut them apart, but we'll see. And, yeah, and then let me just run down the table real quick. So Liverpool is 1. They're at the top of the table, 25 points. They play Spurs next week. Man City, they have gained on Liverpool a little bit. They are only 6 points behind them after 9 games, and they have 19 points. Leicester is 3rd, which normally you wouldn't say at this time of the year, but Brendan Rodgers has been doing a great job, and they are in 3rd place. They have 17 points. They're only 2 points behind Man City, and that's pretty impressive because Man City ran away with Man City and Liverpool were pretty much gone by this time last year. And so far ahead of anyone, you just knew that they were the only 2 teams that were going to be able to beat each other. And Chelsea, whose season started off so bad, they're only 2 points behind Man City. So even though Man City's chasing Liverpool, they could get caught. Like, if this Chelsea team continues doing what they're doing, they found their scorer, which was an issue. They didn't have a scorer the last 2 years. And they've got midfield and youth and experience. And they have defenders. Look. Who knows, man? They might give Liverpool a better challenge than City. Arsenal, they lost to Sheffield United 1-0. That's one of the losses that Wenger used to incur, like to a team like Sheffield United. It's one of the losses that Unai Emery is being criticized for incurring, and he did it again. So this is Arsenal is pretty much the same Arsenal they were under Wenger. They're still getting the same type of results they get under Unai Emery. They'll win a bunch of games and then they'll lose a game or 2 or tie but they're still fifth. They're still doing better than Man U. Crystal Palace, they're sixth. They have 14 points. That's really good for Crystal Palace. Tottenham, they're seventh. They have 12 points. That is not good for Tottenham. We discussed that. Burnley, they're eighth. They have 12 points. That's really good for Burnley. Sheffield United, newly promoted team, they have 12 points. They beat Arsenal, and they have West Ham coming up. They're doing good for a newly promoted team. They're in the top 10 after 9 games. Bournemouth, they're doing what Bournemouth does. They're 10th. They have 12 points. This is a Bournemouth season. West Ham, they're in 11th. They have 12 points. This West Ham could be better. On paper, they look better, but this ain't bad. The season's early. Aston Villa, they're 12th. They have 11 points. Newly promoted team to be 12th. At this time, I think they're only going to get stronger. They probably need to buy some players. Well, they bought a lot, so they have to start using their depth, but their starting 11 is pretty impressive. Wolverhampton Wanderers, they're 13th, but they're still in the Europa League, so we'll see how much the Europa League affects their Premiership season. But they're 13th, and they have 11th point. Manchester United is behind them. We're in the Europa League, and we have 10 points. We have a Europa League game on Thursday. I forgot who it is. I'll look it up afterwards. But, yeah. We haven't looked good in our last few Europa League matches.
So, what's the Europa League then?
Oh, Europa League. Oh, so let me describe that. So now, the top 4 teams in the league go to the Champions League. Mm-hmm. But football is very greedy, right? So they're very greedy. So, how can we make more money? So you'll create another league. So the 2 teams, the 5th and 6th team, go into this other league, but that is just like the Champions League, but it's below the Champions League, where the 5th and 6th teams from England play teams of a similar quality from the other leagues, and for a cup. So there's also a point where in the Europa League, when, let's go back to the Champions League. Say you're in the Champions League and you're in the group stages and you don't qualify for the next round of the Champions League. You slide into the Europa League.
Oh, wow.
So you have a chance to win the Europa League.
Wow.
Right. And so then the teams that are already in the Europa League, when they get to the next round, they have to play some of the fallen angel Champions League teams. So that's the Europa League.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you said that these teams down here, even 13, 14, are still in that?
Well, last year, so the season, it's early. It's only 9 games in the season.
Yeah.
But last year, Wolves finished 6th.
Oh, okay.
So they're in the Champions League based on their performance last season. And Manchester United finished 5th. So
they're in the Europa League.
They're in the Europa League with Wolverhampton also.
Okay.
Right. So, but, yeah. And Everton, 15th. They should be doing better. And like I said, Marco Silva saved his job this week, but let's see how long he continues to keep it. He has 10 points. Brighton Hove, 16 points. And that's good for them. And they have a new style. They have a new coach. And they're in 16th. They got 9 points. Let's see.
One more time. So, sorry.
No, go ahead.
So they're playing Europa League games during this season? During this Premier
just
League
like
season?
just like the Champions League. Like today.
Okay.
That's something I forgot to cover. Today, so Champions League, right, is played midweek.
Oh, okay.
So on the weekend.
Weekend is Premier League.
It's Premier League.
Okay.
Midweek, you play on Tuesday and Wednesday, Champions League. And then Thursday, Europa League. And then you go back to the weekend.
So it sucks worse to be in Europa League because you're playing so close to your...
You're playing close to the weekend. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they may or may not consider that.
Yeah.
Yeah. They may or may not consider that. You there's not a lot of rest.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Suck on that, NFL.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, there's a lot of games, bro. So I'm glad you asked me that question too. So Brighton Hove, 16th. Southampton, 17th. I guess that's good for them. They're always flirting with deportation and somehow pull it out at the end of the season. Let's see if they do it this season. Newcastle, they're 18th and they have 8 points, but they're so close to other teams that this is not a worst case scenario. So, hey, a win or tie, or, whatever they could, And they have Steve Bruce, who saves teams from relegation, and that's why they hired him. And nobody's surprised that they're 18th. They're actually surprised that they're not in Watford's spot at 20th. So, Norwich, they're in the place of a team that just got promoted, even though they've played better than being in 19th place. They are in 19th place. They got 7 points. Watford has 4 points. Jesus Christ. And they're 20th. 4 points. And let me just run through some Champions League scores. Today, I watched Atletico Madrid beat Bayer Leverkusen. And that was one of the good games from today. And Morata scored. And Real Madrid, on a Toni Kroos goal, I think, beats Galatasaray. They needed this win because they have been stinking up the Champions League, and they lost during the week. They rested players. So if you rest players and lose midweek in the La Liga, you better win, in the Champions League. So then they won. Yeah, Kroos scored. And let me go back and see who else plays. Bayern beat Olympiacos. PSG pounded, and I think Mbappe had a hat trick. And speaking of Man City, they beat Atalanta, who came at them hard and was very disrespectful of Man City, and came at them and thought, all right, we're going to take this game to you. This is how we play. And they looked threatening at first, and they put up a good fight, but Man City beat the shit out of them 5-1, and Sterling had a hat trick and a bunch of assists. He's just amazing. He won a penalty that Aguero put in the goal. This dude is just, we're going to have to start talking about Raheem Sterling differently. Like, because he's English, even though England started football, Aaron, like, our players don't get worldwide respect all the time because we haven't won a World Cup in a long time.
Yeah.
So then we're like, England, it's good in England, but Raheem Sterling is stepping out of that shadow. So he's working hard and he's getting results. He had an amazing assist on the weekend to David Silva in their win over, I forgot who they played, but he was an amazing assist, and now he gets 3 goals a few days later and an assist or 2. So, and coming up tomorrow in Champions League, any good games? There is, it's not that any. Like, Spurs won today too. Juventus won today too. But the games that's come, Inter versus Dortmund is a good game. So I hope that's the game they show on TNT. And Ajax versus Chelsea tomorrow is a good game. Those are the other games that are like a good team versus an okay team. Red Bull Leipzig versus Zenit, decent. And that's it.
I love the idea of relegation in sports.
Why?
I really do. Because I think it motivates the lower teams to not give up, to put something quality on the field. They have to spend. Because in baseball right now, there's no minimum spending requirement. So, like, you've got the Marlins spending like $40 million on their team, and you have the Yankees spending $240.
Are the Yankees making that money back?
Yeah. They're all making that. They're certainly making that money back.
Okay.
But like, you put no team on the field, you're not going to make money either.
Right.
So they're making what I'm sure the Marlins are making more than what they're spending, but they're not spending.
Right.
So it forces you to at least spend a little,
Right. To do better.
Yeah, to pull in better players, to lock up players longer time, I don't know that it would work in baseball because there's the minors, but there's no like
those teams aren't good enough to play.
The best minor league team might have beaten the Marlins this year, or the Tigers actually were the worst team in baseball.
Right.
With over 114 losses, I think.
Jesus Christ, that is a minor league team.
Yeah. So, I mean, especially when it came to the trade deadline, like they just got robbed of all their best players.
They sold them?
Except for one, yeah.
Did they make any money off they don't make any money?
There could be cash involved, but it's usually prospects. So you'll give up your best outfielder, let's say, for the top prospect that this team has, like the best guy in the minors,
right? Or
the second or third, top five or whatever.
Are they trying to rebuild too? Could it be that?
Certainly, yeah, certainly. Some teams have been rebuilding for a long time though, so it's like
yeah.
And when it gets to be really bad, then they talk contraction. That's when they talk about like removing a team from the league.
Damn.
They talked about it with the Twins actually, who were in the playoffs this year.
Oh,
beat them.
How long ago were they talking about contraction of the Twins?
It had to have been 10 years ago probably, because they just got a new stadium like 3-4 years ago.
But they're in the playoffs.
Yeah, now they're in the playoffs. Yeah.
All right.
It's weird.
Yeah. I was just trying to. I know a lot of Americans, they don't like football, but they love the idea of relegation.
There's something about like a team that, like, I don't know where Norwich is playing before, but like I know my buddy's a big fan of theirs.
They were in the division below.
Yeah, so like the idea that a team could work their way up and get that big money, and if it's a team in your town, I mean that's for sure that's really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know how it would work in American sports.
Yeah, American sports isn't set up for it. There'd have to be a whole reconfiguration.
There'd be like an XFL team gets into the NFL.
Yeah.
Like that. That'd never happen.
I mean, people would start taking. What's the baseball right after Major League Baseball? AAA. AAA. Yeah. So people would have to start taking AAA way more seriously, but those teams wouldn't be feeder teams to the majors.
Exactly.
So then that'll just change.
Well, and also they're playing in 5,000 seat stadiums,
right?
So that won't work in the major leagues. Like, you can't. You can't make money.
Yeah, you wouldn't just come up and then where would you play?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, it doesn't work.
Yeah, it doesn't work. Yeah. So
and they wouldn't be able to keep prices as cheap as they were the year when they were in AAA. Like,
yeah,
that'd be insane.
It'll be a whole. You'd have to just start over.
Yeah.
Start baseball over.
Yeah.
Or start football, everything over.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huge.
And the minor leagues would have to start paying their players.
Yeah.
That's a whole thing that is crazy.
So they don't pay them?
In single A, there have definitely been guys who've made $11,000 a year.
Oh shit!
There have been articles about guys like that who have to have sponsor families to live with because they can't even afford an apartment.
Damn, you want to adopt a baseball player? Anybody out there?
Exactly.
Jesus,
it's crazy. And then they wonder why less African Americans in this country are playing baseball. 'Cause 11,000 is still a rung up for a guy from the Dominican, but like,
right.
If you're a
I
black
can work
kid
at
in
McDonald's
high
and
school,
get. I'm not going to give up my good McDonald's job to play baseball. Are you out of your goddamn mind?
Exactly. Or I can go. They just had this past off season, the Oakland A's drafted their number 1 draft pick this last year, whatever it was this guy Kyler Murray, and he also played football at Oklahoma or Nebraska. I forget where. Oklahoma State, maybe. I don't remember. And he chose to play football. He's the quarterback for the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah. Oh,
and it's like, well, yeah. What you wanted him to go to they've signed him to like $5 million, whatever you can.
The most you could.
The most you can sign a guy as a draft pick. But like, he can go to football and make 10 times that.
Right.
And there's no minor leagues. You're immediately on the biggest stage in the world.
Yeah, you could be on the bench for the rest of your life and make more money than
the potential of making the major leagues.
Yeah,
eventually.
the potential. Yes.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know. They just got to start paying.
You can win a Super Bowl without playing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and be in the league every week. Have the camera pass by you on the bench. Yeah.
Yeah, there's something that's got to be fixed there financially to get more people into it. Otherwise, this sport will die.
Well, maybe the threat of that will change things.
I hope so.
Yeah, because the only thing people are worried about money, and then the thought that it might dry up might slap some people into common sense.
I hope so, but it's been going on for a long time.
Right.
I don't know how you can expect someone to be a pro athlete in peak physical condition if they're living on someone's couch. I know. Have no money for, I mean, I'm sure they could eat at the ballpark, for free, but fuck.
Well, that's not good food. So then that shortens your lifespan as an athlete.
I'm sure they have better than what's in the concessions, but still.
Even the family's like, could you bring us home some of the catered food that they give you athletes, and we'll let you stay on the couch.
Yeah.
And then most people's couches are shorter than the length of an athlete. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So it's amazing. Yeah. Anybody want to adopt a baseball player? There's a go online. It's a Big Brother program. Yeah. All right. Do you have anything you want to plug, Aaron?
I'm on Twitter at Hilarious. That's HILAARONOUS. And I just joined Instagram. I'm the last person. For some reason, I tried to join as Hilarious, and they said I had violated the terms. I've never posted anything. And after months of trying that, I just changed the email I set up, and now I am at Aaron Brungart, AARONBRUNGARDT. I probably won't post anything. I'm just there to look at dog pictures.
Hilarious. So. Let me hold on. Let me see if I can. Let me just find you now on Instagram. So tell me what you are again.
It's just Aaron Brungart.
Aaron Brungart. Damn it. Is that 2 A's? Just one? 2 A's.
2 A's, yeah.
They're going to be so hard to find.
Probably.
Because you haven't posted anything.
Mm-mm. I just joined last night, so.
What made you do it?
Literally just want to look at pictures of animals. There's some funny accounts I've heard of I got to follow. I don't know. I really don't need another thing, so I'm not going to be posting probably.
Is it Brungard with a B-R-U-G?
BRUNGARDT.
Yeah, I'm not even finding you. Yeah. How many R's are in your name? In Aaron?
One.
Okay, I got 2. All right, I think I found you. Yeah. There you go. Yep, 0 posts. You're following 9 people, 22 followers. At least you're up in followers. Yeah.
Yeah, but I do post. I do post jokes on Twitter and stuff.
All right,
things
cool.
I think of. So I won't ruin your feeds if you follow me.
All right, I'll get on. I'll get that from you, or text that to me, or email that to me.
Okay.
Email me the thing. All right, thanks, man. Thanks for your help. Thank you all for watching and listening this week. I'm at the Ice House this weekend. First, I'm in Chicago at the Fox Theater Detroit at the Fox Theater with Joe Rogan this Friday. Then I fly back to LA, and I got 2 shows at the Ice House. I'm headlining. One's at 8, one's at 10. So this is October 26th at the Ice House. Tell your friends, even if you don't live in California, tell them to come through. And if you're in California, definitely come through to the Pasadena Ice House this Saturday. I think ticket sales are kind of weak. Don't embarrass me, y'all. Come the fuck through. Disrespectful.
Come in costume.
Yeah, come in costume, man. We'll have a good, fun-ass time. Like, Halloween is being celebrated all month, so let's do it. And I'm at the Improv Shop at the Flyover Comedy Festival on November 9th, 9 p.m. show. So come check that out in St. Louis. St. Louis.
Go Cards.
Yeah. And I was just in St. Louis, too, for Helium. But now I'm back. And Tommy T's. I'll be there November 29th to December 1st. So right after Thanksgiving, I'll be at Tommy T's Rancho 2 shows Friday, 2 shows Saturday, and 1 on Sunday. And Tommy T's Rancho. And on December 13th, up at the not the Ice House, my bad. December 13th, I'll be in San Diego at the Comedy Palace. So come check me out there and go to my website to see my other dates. But yeah, and you can check out my special, Ian Talk, presented by Bill Burr. It's on Comedy Central, streaming on there. Boom. And what else? You could buy my album, 100% Half-Assed. It was produced by Conan. Go to my website, ianedwardscomedian.com. $5, man. $5. That's it. And that's it, y'all. Thank you. Thanks for helping me do this solo thing, Aaron.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Good looking out.
All right.
1. Boom. Yeah, thanks, man.